How to easy cook kebabs. Meat on a stick is always a big hit at barbecues. But kebabs aren't just about the protein. Mixing in some tasty veggies with the steak, chicken, or pork gives you a complete meal, all on one handy skewer. The good news is you don't even have to wait for a barbecue to enjoy kebabs. Grilling is certainly the classic way to cook them, but you can also throw the skewers in the oven under the broiler and wind up with kebabs that are just as delicious. Ingredients: 3.5 pounds (1.6 kilograms) protein, such as beef, chicken, pork, or seafood. 3 to 4 vegetables, such as onions, bell peppers, zucchini, or mushrooms. Marinade optional. Salt and freshly ground black pepper optional. Part 1: Making the kebabs. Cut a protein into cubes. You can use any type of protein that you like for your kebabs, but beef, chicken, pork, lamb, and seafood are the most common options. Use a sharp knife to cut 3.5 pounds (1.6 kilograms) of the protein you're using into approximately 2-inch cubes 5 cm that you can easily thread on a skewer. 1. When it comes to seafood, choose heartier fish, such as salmon, swordfish, or tuna. Shrimp also work well for kebabs. If you're a vegetarian, you can omit the protein or substitute tofu for any type of meat. Marinate the protein for a few hours. To ensure the most flavorful kebabs, you should create a marinade for the protein. Choose a marinade that complements the type of protein that you're using, and allow the meat sit in it for 2 to 5 hours. 2. A marinade doesn't really penetrate the meat or protein, so there's no need to marinate overnight. If you don't want to marinate the protein, you can simply season the protein on all sides with salt and freshly ground black pepper. Make a basic marinade by mixing 1 cup 237 milliliters of vegetable oil, 3/4 cup 177 milliliters of soy sauce, 1/2 cup 118 milliliters of lemon juice, 1/4 cup 59 milliliters of Worcestershire sauce, 1/4 cup 62 grams of mustard, 2 garlic cloves, and freshly ground black pepper. 3. You can also try a pineapple marinade, Jack Daniel's marinade, Coke marinade, or your personal favorite marinade recipe. Chop the vegetables. To ensure that the kebabs cook evenly, pair your protein with veggies that have the same cooking time. Onions, bell peppers, zucchini, grape tomatoes, and yellow squash are good options with most proteins. Use 3 to 4 whole vegetables, depending on their size, and cut them into chunks that are the same size as your protein. 4. You can also use fruit, such as pineapple, peaches, and mangoes, for your kebabs. Choose metal or wooden skewers. To assemble the kebabs, you'll need some type of skewer. Metal skewers are reusable, but they can be difficult to clean and are often hot to the touch when they're done cooking. Wooden skewers are inexpensive, so you can throw them away when you're done and not worry about cleanup. They are prone to charring, though. 5. For a good-sized portion, choose skewers that are about 12 inches 30 cm long. Soak wooden skewers for a half hour. Because wooden skewers can burn easily, you should soak them in water before you cook your kebabs. Place the skewers in a shallow dish, and cover them with water. Allow them to sit for about 30 minutes. 6. Space the ingredients on the skewers. When your protein is finished marinating, you can assemble the kebabs. Thread the protein and vegetable pieces onto the skewers, pushing the items so they're close together without actually touching. Make sure there's some space at the end of the skewer to avoid overcrowding. 2 inches 5 cm is usually enough. 7. You can thread the protein and vegetables on the skewers however you like. Alternating them is usually the most common method. If you're not sure if the cooking time of the protein and veggies matches up, you're better off making separate kebabs for the protein and vegetables. Part 2: Grilling the kebabs. Preheat the grill to medium-high. It's best to grill kebabs over direct medium-high heat. Allow it to preheat at medium-high for 10 minutes with a gas grill and 20 to 25 minutes with a charcoal grill. 8. For a gas grill, you can just set the temperature gauge to medium-high for preheating. With a charcoal grill, you can tell that it's reached the right temperature by holding your hand 4 to 5 inches 10 to 13 cm above the cooking grate. When you can only keep your hand there for 4 to 5 seconds before the heat is too much, it's at medium-high heat. You can also use a grill pan on your stove to cook the kebabs. Grill the skewers on the first side for several minutes. When the grill is preheated, arrange the kebabs in a single layer on the cooking grate. Let them cook for several minutes on the first side depending on what type of protein you're using. Grill steak for 4 to 6 minutes per side. Grill chicken for 6 to 8 minutes per side. Grill pork for 6 to 8 minutes per side. Grill lamb for 4 to 6 minutes per side. Grill shrimp for 2 to 3 minutes per side. Grill salmon, tuna, or swordfish for 2 to 3 minutes per side. Grill tofu for 2 to 3 minutes per side. Flip the kebabs over and cook for another few minutes. When the kebabs are finished, grill on the first side, use a pair of tongs to turn them over. Cook them on the second side for the same amount of time that you did the first. 9. The kebabs are done grilling when the veggies are tender and all of the protein and vegetable pieces are browned on all sides. Part 3. Broiling the kebabs. Preheat your broiler. Place your oven rack so it's approximately 4 inches 10 cm from the broiler element. Turn the broiler up to high, and allow it to preheat for about 10 minutes. 10. Be sure to follow your oven's instructions for proper use of the broiler. Place a baking rack on top of a baking sheet. To keep the kebabs from steaming in the liquid they release, it's important to keep them elevated. Set a baking rack on top of a large baking sheet so the liquid can drip below while they broil. 11. Arrange the kebabs on the rack. With the baking rack on the baking sheet, set the kebabs on top of the rack, set them in a single layer so they'll cook evenly. 12. Broil the kebabs for a few minutes. Place the baking sheet under the preheated broiler. Allow the kebabs to broil for several minutes depending on what type of protein you're using. 13. Broil steak for 4 to 6 minutes per side. Broil chicken for 6 to 8 minutes per side. Broil pork for 6 to 8 minutes per side. Broil lamb for 4 to 6 minutes per side. Broil shrimp for 2 to 3 minutes per side. Broil salmon, tuna, or swordfish for 2 to 3 minutes per side. Broil tofu for 2 to 3 minutes per side. Turn the kebabs over and cook for another few minutes. When the kebabs are finished broiling on the first side, use a pair of tongs to turn them over to the other side. Let them broil on the second side for the same amount of time that they broiled on the first side. 14. You can tell that the kebabs are done broiling when all of the sides are browned and the vegetables are tender. Finished. Tips. You can get creative with your kebabs. Try different combinations of protein, marinades, and veggies to see which are your favorite. To save time, you can tell the butcher that you're making kebabs when you purchase your meat. That way, they can cut it into cubes for you. For fancy, flavorful kebabs, try using herbs as the skewer in place of metal or wood. Rosemary works well because its stalks are woody and thick. Things you'll need: knife, shallow dish, whisk, metal or wooden skewers, grilling, gas or charcoal grill, tongs, broiling, broiler, baking sheet, baking rack, tongs,